Hey, what is up guys? My name is Cameron Gallagher and today we're talking all about storage, so let's get into it. Now disclaimer, this is not a sponsored video. They did send me this product for free, but I can say whatever I'd like. I will have pros and cons and no money exchanged hands, so I just want to make sure to get that clear right off the bat. So the BlackBox Pro is a large storage solution that is built for, whether it's on your desk or on the go, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. But I do want to call out that there are two versions and technically four versions of this product. There is the Thunderbolt 3 version, which is a Thunderbolt series. So if you want a daisy chain, use it as a Thunderbolt accessory, there's that version. And there's also the USB-C version, which is strictly just like an external storage solution, right? There's no daisy chaining, it's just USB-C. Both of those have the ability to have the card readers or not. So just so you know, those are options. Make sure that you kind of take a look and make sure you're getting the right one. You're not accidentally getting the wrong version. It's a bit confusing, so just make sure to take a peek. And I'll talk about why maybe I would get one over the other. So I have the Thunderbolt 3 version without the card reader, and I have to say, first taking this out of the box, I was insanely impressed with the build quality. This thing is built tough. It is just heavy duty. It's a little bit heavy, but I was impressed by that. On the back, there's a power on and off switch, there's a DC barrel jack, and there's a RAID controller, which is probably the #1 reason why I can recommend this product. A long time ago, I made another video about an Eureka RAID that I had gotten, which I really enjoyed and it was great. But the problem was that was a software RAID. And what ended up happening is ever since I upgraded to the M series MacBook Pro, Eureka has pretty much stopped supporting the M series chips unless you do this really weird workaround where they have to get access at the kernel level. And it's just, I don't know, not really into that. So having a physical RAID controller on board of this BlackBox Pro is a massive selling point, and I'll be honest, it's probably one of the best parts of the entire device. Of course, in my case, there's the two Thunderbolt 3 docks, so of course, if you want to plug it in and daisy chain another device. I will say, and one thing I want to talk about right here is I would probably not go with the Thunderbolt device because one of the most annoying parts about Thunderbolt is it has to be connected directly to the computer. So for someone like me, it has to be connected to a dock and connected to a Thunderbolt dock, and it needs to have a Thunderbolt daisy chain. So for me, I have a Thunderbolt connection to my RAID, to a dock, and then I usually put an SSD on the other one for kind of working drives. So I will say, just keep that in mind, is depending on your setup and your workflow, the USB-C version might be better because to be honest, you're not going to be saturating that anyway. And that brings me to the drive quality. So one thing that I do really love is that these are enterprise quality drives, 7,200 RPMs, and they are incredibly fast, and obviously, hopefully, they're going to last quite a long time. Now, Glyph has a great reputation, so I don't feel bad about saying that they're probably going to last quite a long time. But I will say, in my testing, when I was running them in RAID 0, I got around 550 megabytes per second read and write. For two optical drives is really great. Granted, this is not SSD level fast. Of course, this is not going to be fast enough to, edit multiple 4K streams or anything crazy like that. What I think this device is so great for is what I would call like long-term on-the-go shooting. So this could be something where maybe you're doing a documentary project and you're going to be on site and you need a big, large storage drive, maybe at the home base, or if you're working on a feature film or a narrative film and you have multiple of these where you have one as a main working drive and one as a backup. Typically, you're not pulling more than just one stream off of it. You're editing one or maybe a DIT is looking at it. Or in a documentary case, you might be editing a lot of different clips, but speed is not of the utmost importance. And 550 megabytes is great for editing, two streams of 4K. Most times I have no problem whatsoever. Of course, if you go down to RAID 1, this is going to give you the backup, not really a backup, it's RAID, but it is going to give you that sort of backup, and you're going to get about 250 megabytes per second. So this is great if you don't need the speed. And I think especially if you have the card reader version where you could plug things in, maybe in a documentary, leave them all day transferring and just not worry about it. Speed doesn't really matter. It's just a great massive storage solution. And on that note, I actually have the 48 terabyte version. So this is really awesome because if I was working on a project where I needed something quick and I needed a large storage solution, obviously 48 terabytes is going to give you a ton. Now they have multiple different options all the way from I think 8 terabytes all the way up to 48. Now one negative is that the rubber casing, although it is really awesome and it feels great, and I love the fact that it is there, like the grip, whether you're holding it or transferring it, is going to be great. I will say it is a complete lint magnet, so this thing is going to get covered in lint, and it's going to look kind of gross. On the front, I really love the fact that there are the locks, so you can lock these drives into place, but also the LED indicators I find are very good. I know that sounds funny, but I feel like a lot of LED indicators on hard drives are useless. I don't know what they mean. It's like Morse code, and I feel like what's really great is that these are very simple. They're just either on, blue, or off, or they're blinking, and you pretty much know what's happening on the drives at a quick glance. Now, if I were buying this right now, I would probably go with the one with the dock and the USB-C version. I think think that would allow me the most flexibility. And again, I don't need the daisy chaining in my case, but if you're using multiple of these, having the Thunderbolt version is really handy as well. So who is this for? Again, like I said, I think this is for people who need large storage on the go, documentaries, filmmaking, narrative films, things like that. But I also think if you're a content creator, if you're somebody who's shooting with one camera, maybe it's just one 4K camera, you're not, loading thousands of clips into an editor, I feel like 550 megabytes is going to be more than fine for editing, especially again, if you're just doing YouTube and you need a large storage solution that has a card reader built in. There's a lot of pros to that. And it's somewhat portable. These enterprise drives, the entire enclosure, it feels really tough and built nice. So it's just one of those things where I would feel safe bringing it with me if I did have to go on a trip. If you're going to a trade show or somewhere where you wanted to do videos and you didn't want to bring an SSD, or if you knew you're going to be shooting with multiple cameras, so you had to offload a lot of footage. I actually did a narrative project somewhat recently, and I wish I had a drive like this with me because it would have been a great way to transfer a lot of files and have it on one storage solution. I will say it is definitely on the pricier side. That being said, you get a really high quality product, so it's totally worth it. I just will say if you're someone who's looking for a budget friendly option, I don't think it's the most budget friendly option. But I think if you're a professional or you know what you're doing and you know what you need, I think it's a really great solution. So I've actually been using mine in RAID 1 at home. And one of the biggest things that I've been struggling with recently is for the last few years, I've been trying to back up my Blu-rays. I love physical media. I'm obviously a big movie guy. I've been wanting to back up all of my 4K Blu-rays to make sure I had a good copy of them. I can use them on Plex at home. And just to make sure if something ever happened in the physical copies, I have these nice digital backups. So what's really great is being able to run this in RAID 1 at home. I'm pulling 225 megabytes per second, which is more than fast enough for most 4K HDR files. And actually, what's really interesting is I used to use another drive before that, just like a typical Western digital drive, and it was only running at about 70 or 80 megabytes per second. And what was really annoying is that I would actually get stuttering based on the hard drive when I was streaming through my Plex server at home. And now I have none of that, and I have 24 terabytes I can fill up. I could, of course, always go to the RAID 0 and have 48 terabytes, which would be really nice because my collection is growing. But I will say that the problem with that is, in my case, if one of the drive dies, I can just plug in the other drive and it'll instantly, do its thing and rebuild. Again, having that physical RAID controller is like a huge, huge must. Because I think if you're somebody who is on the go and you're making a documentary and you have a drive failure, you can always just slide another one and then it's going to rebuild and you're good to go. So overall, I really love it. I think it's impressive. It's really great. It's not the fastest thing in the world and maybe it's a bit expensive, but I think when it comes to a quality product, and I think if you know you need this, you probably already know you need it. Having the card reader or the Thunderbolt connectivity is really handy and can be great if you're on set. And I think if you're a post house or if you're somebody who's a documentary shooter and you're on location and you need a home-based storage unit, I think the BlackBox Pro is a great option. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later.